Hello, my students. Let's continue our lesson about counting atoms. In the last video, we were talking about the relative atomic masses and that we use a unit called AMU, or atomic mass unit, to measure the mass of an atom. And one atomic mass unit equals to the mass 1/12, the mass of a carbon-12 atom. Why the carbon atom have 12 AMU units? Because it have 12 particles inside its nucleus. Because the protons and neutrons, each one of them has a mass of around 1 AMU. Why don't we count the electrons? Because they have a very small mass, so we don't consider it. Okay, let me ask you some questions. How many eggs in a carton? So when you look at this carton, you know that you are buying 12 eggs. But does it tell me how much does it weigh? Do I know if I'm having 12 eggs, how much those 12 eggs will weigh? Of course not. We can know their weight if we put them on a scale. So if I told you I have a dozen of something, I mean that I have 12 pieces of this something. I didn't tell you their mass. So if I go and I buy a dozen of donuts, that means that I have 12 donuts. Still, I don't know their mass. If someone gave me a dozen of roses, that means that I have 12 roses, but still I don't know their mass. So a dozen is something tells me about the number that I have, the 12 pieces that I have of this thing. So if I have a dozen of lemon or a dozen of watermelon, means I have 12 pieces of lemon, or I have 12 lemons and 12 watermelon. So I have a dozen of each. So I have equal numbers of each kind of fruit, but still of course, they don't have the same mass. Similarly, in chemistry, we determine the amount of substance in a unit called mole. So a mole is a unit for the amount of substance. It's talking about how many particles of this substance do I have. It doesn't talk about how much do they weigh. It's only the amount of substance. So the mole is the SI unit for the amount of substance. So a mole is the amount of substance equal to the atoms in exactly 12 grams of carbon-12. So the amount of atoms found in 12 grams of carbon atom equals to 1 mole. But how many atoms are there? There are 6.0221415 times 10 to the power 23 atoms. And this special number, we call it Avogadro's number, according to the scientist who came up with this number. So Avogadro's number is the number of particles in exactly 1 mole of a pure substance. So if I say if I have 1 mole of iron, that means that we have pure iron, we have 6.022 times 10 to the power 23 atoms of iron. If I say I have 1 mole of calcium, that means that we have 6.0221415 times 10 to the power 23 atoms of calcium, and so on. But if you want to know, okay, how much does 6.0221415 times 10 to the power 23 weigh? We measure its molar mass. So the molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of a pure substance. And we can know the molar mass is usually written in units of gram per mole. So how many grams equal to this mole can be found in 1 mole. And the molecular mass of an element, we can know it from the atomic mass of an element that we find it in the periodic table. That's it for today. Let's continue next time.